I'm going to tell you a little bit about my garden. Bought my house 8 years ago in Baltimore City, and the front yard was a patch of exotic plants. It kind of sloped from one corner to the other, so it's kind of a diagonal slope. And it had dandelions and crabgrass and all sorts of weeds. I thought, well, I want to put a garden here, but I don't know how I want to do it. A friend suggested, why don't you do steps? So I did, and I had 3 triangles as it stepped down. I lived in the house for a year before I did this, and the first year I did not know any of my neighbors, not a single one. But when I was out in the yard gardening and digging up the soil and putting the wood in, my neighbors one by one came by and said hi. And I thought, this is what community is. And it was really wonderful. And since my front yard gets all sunlight, my garden thrived. I learned to compost, and I planted the usual suspects, cucumbers, which means all of my neighbors got them, tomatoes, peppers. Those always succeeded. Seems like the melons didn't do so well. My mother liked my garden because I would make refrigerator pickles and I would bring them to her, and I would bring her tomatoes, and she really, really loved it, and that made me happy. A year ago this month, my mother fell, and sadly, she passed away in December on Christmas Eve. And the only thing that could really get me through all that time was repeating the mantra, so many people have gone through this before me, and so many people will go through it after me, and somehow that gave me comfort. This past spring, I decided, okay, I'm going to plant my garden, and I tilled the soil, and I put my compost in there, and I put my weed barrier over everything, and I put 24 bags of mulch over the top of everything, and I didn't have the heart to plant. I just didn't feel like it. And this summer, I don't know if you all remember, July was scorching hot. But all of a sudden, I started to notice, 'cause I wasn't watering, I wasn't doing anything. I didn't have to weed since I had all the mulch on it. But some volunteers started coming up. I had cherry tomatoes, balls to the walls, gangbusters, more cherry tomatoes than one can imagine. They grew so fast and so furious. Right now, they cover my walkway. I have to go around it. They go out into the sidewalk, so when people are coming out, they walk across the street so they don't step on them. They're going into my neighbor's yard. There's tomatoes everywhere, little round marbles, and they are wonderful. I have, well, if you can imagine me with long hair, I used to tell people that if Don King and Medusa had a love child, that's what my hair looks like when it's long. And right now, that's exactly what my front yard garden looks like. I started harvesting a couple weeks ago. A friend had a dinner party, and I said, I'll bring cherry tomatoes. And she made the best bruschetta ever. And as I'm gathering these tomatoes, first world problems. It's so overflowing that trying to get through, it's like a minefield, stepping as careful as I possibly can. But every third or fourth step, I would hear the pop of little tomatoes under my feet. And I thought to myself, I didn't have the energy to plant this year, and that was okay because it happened anyways, and I saved a lot of money watering. And with every time that I stepped down and I heard that pop, all I could think of, I'll have another garden next year as well. Thank you.